The term urban local government in India signifies the governance of an urban area by the people through their elected representatives, and the jurisdiction of an urban local government is limited to a specific area which is demarcated for this purpose by the state government. It is a result of economic development in India as urbanization is proceeding at a very rapid rate. Therefore, it is imperative to develop an efficient urban local government. The system of urban government was constitutionalized through the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. At the central level, the subject of urban local government is dealt with the following three ministries: Ministry of Urban Development, that was created as a separate ministry in 1985, Ministry of Defense in the case of cantonment boards, and Ministry of Home Affairs in the case of union territories. There are 8 types of urban local governments in India, which are as municipal corporation, municipality, notified area committee, town area committee, cantonment board, township, port trust, and special purpose agency, which we'll discuss later. Now let's discuss how the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992 came into being. In 1989, the Rajiv Gandhi government introduced the 65th Constitutional Amendment Bill, the Nagarpalika Bill, in the Lok Sabha. The bill aimed at strengthening and revamping the municipal bodies by conferring on them a constitutional status. Although the bill was passed in the Lok Sabha, it was defeated in the Rajya Sabha and hence the bill lapsed. Then the National Front government under VP Singh introduced the revised Nagarpalika Bill in the Lok Sabha in 1990. However, the bill was not passed and finally lapsed due to the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. Then finally, P.V. Narasimha Rao's government also introduced the Modified Municipalities Bill in the Lok Sabha in 1991. It finally emerged as the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. And it came into force in June 1993. 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. This act has added a new part, that is part 9A, to the Constitution of India. This part is entitled as the Municipalities and it consists of provisions from Article 243P to Article 243ZG. In addition, the Act has also added a new schedule, that is the 12th schedule, to the Constitution. The schedule contains 18 functional items of municipalities such as urban planning including town planning, regulation of land use and construction of buildings, planning for economic social development, roads and bridges, water supply for domestic, industrial and commercial purposes, public health, sanitation, fire services, safeguarding the interests of the weaker sections of society including the handicapped and the mentally retarded, slum improvement and upgradation, urban poverty alleviation programs, and provisions for facilities like parks, gardens, playgrounds, and many more. This act gave constitutional status to the municipalities. It has brought them under the purview of justiciable part of the constitution, which makes state government under constitutional obligation to adopt the new system of municipalities in accordance with the provision of this act. This act aims at strengthening the urban government so that they can function effectively as units of local government. Let's discuss some of the important features of the 74th Amendment Act. 3 types of municipalities. This act provides for the constitution of 3 types of municipalities which are as follows. A Nagar Panchayat, that is for a transitional area. A transitional area is an area which is in transition from a rural area to an urban area. Secondly, a municipal council, that is for a small urban area, and a municipal corporation, that is for a larger urban area. Secondly, the Act also provides for the composition of municipality. All the members of municipality shall be elected directly by the people of the municipal area. And for this purpose, each municipal area shall be divided into territorial constituencies which are known as wards. And the state legislature will provide the manner of elections of the chairperson of a municipality. The Act also provides for Wards Committee. A ward committee is constituted of one or more wards within the territorial area of a municipality having population of 3 lakh or more. And the state legislature is responsible for making any provisions for the constitution of committees in addition to the ward committees. Further, the Act provides for the reservation of seats for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in every municipality in proportion of their population to the total population in the municipal area. And it also provides for the reservation of seats of not less than one-third of the total number of seats for women, which including the number of seats reserved for women belonging to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Duration of municipalities. The Act also provides for a 5-year term of office for every municipality. However, it can be dissolved before the completion of its term, and the fresh elections to constitute a municipality shall be completed before the expiry of its duration of 5 years, or in case of dissolution before the expiry of a period of 6 months from the date of its dissolution. The Act also provides for the establishment of a State Election Commission, which will be responsible for the superintendence, direction, and control of the preparation of the electoral rolls and the conduct of all elections to the municipalities. Now, to understand the system of urban local government and how it functions in different areas of the country, let's study the following 8 different types of local bodies that are constituted for the same purpose. Firstly, the municipal corporation, or their other names from which we must be more familiar are the Nagar Nigam or Mahanagar Palika. See, they are formed for metropolitan cities which has a population of more than 1 million, which is 10 lakh. The largest corporations that are situated in the cities of India like Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, and many more. These cities not only have a large population but are also the administrative as well as the commercial centers for the country. Municipal corporations are established in the states by the acts of the concerned state legislatures, and in the union territories by the acts of the Parliament of India. And for the functioning, the municipal corporation has 3 authorities: the council, the standing committee, and the commissioner. The council is the deliberative and legislative wing of the corporation, and it consists of the councillor directly elected by the people as well as few nominated persons which are having knowledge or experience of municipal administration. The council is majorly headed by a mayor who is the formal head of the corporation, and its main function is to preside over the meetings of the council. And the standing committees are created to facilitate the working of the council, and they deal with works like education, health, taxation, finance, and so on. The municipal commissioner is responsible for the implementation of the decisions that are taken up by the council or the standing committee. Thus, the municipal commissioner is the chief executive authority of the corporation, and he is appointed by the state government and is generally a member of the Indian Administrative Services. Now, the second are the municipalities, which are also named as Nagar Palika. They are established for the administration of cities which has a minimum population of 1 lakh and maximum to 10 lakh. The municipalities are much similar to that of municipal corporation in terms of its establishment and its structure, as they are also set up in the states by the acts of the concerned state legislatures and in the union territories by the acts of the parliament. And like a municipal corporation, a municipality also has 3 authorities, namely the council, the standing committee, and the chief executive officer. And here the same, the council is also the deliberative and legislative wing of the municipality, but it is headed by the president and chairman and not by a mayor as in the case of the municipal corporation. And unlike the mayor of the municipal corporation, the chairman or the president has a significant role in municipalities, as they not only presides over the meeting of the council but it enjoys some level of executive powers. And here also the standing committees are created to facilitate the working of the council, and they deal with public works like taxation, health, finance, and so on. Unlike the case of municipal corporation, which has a commissioner, the municipality has chief executive officer or a chief municipal officer who is responsible for its day-to-day general administrative work and is appointed by the state government. The third is Notified Area Committee, which is created for the administration of two types of areas. Firstly, a fast developing area due to industrialization, and secondly, a town which does not fulfill the conditions necessary for the constitution of Notified Area Committee but is otherwise considered important by the state government. These committees are established by a notification in the government gazette. That's why they are also called as Notified Area Committee. Their powers are almost equivalent to those of the municipalities, but unlike the municipality, it is an entirely nominated body, and all the members are nominated by the state government, including the chairman. Therefore, it is neither an elected body nor a statutory body. Town Area Committee. A town area committee is set up for the administration of small towns. Basically, it is a semi-municipal authority and is entrusted with a limited number of civic functions like drainage, roads, street lighting, etc. It is created by a separate act of legislature, state legislature, and its composition functions are governed by the act. It may be wholly elected, wholly nominated by the state government, or partly elected or partly nominated. Cantonment Board. A cantonment board is established for the municipal administration of civilian population in the cantonment area, which is a permanent military settlement area. It is set up under the provisions of the Cantonment Act of 2006. Therefore, it works under the administrative control of the Defense Ministry of the central government. Thus, unlike the above four types of urban local bodies, which are created and administered by the state government, a cantonment board is created as well as administered by the central government. At present, there are 62 cantonment boards in the country, in like Agra, Delhi, Allahabad, and many more states. And these cantonment boards are grouped into four categories on the basis of the civil population. The first category is above 50,000, and the second category belongs to the population that is between 10,000 to 50,000. The third category is for population from 2,500 to 10,000, and the fourth category is below the population of 2,500. A cantonment board consists of partly elected and partly nominated members. The elected members hold the office for a term of 5 years, while the nominated members continue as long as they hold the office in that station. The township is type of a urban government that is established by the large public enterprises to provide facilities to its staff and workers who live in the housing colonies built near the plant. And it has both residential and commercial complexes like roads, schools, hospitals, etc. Example of such townships are Mahindra World City, that is in Pune. The enterprise appoints a town administrator to look after the administration of the township. He is assisted by some engineers and other technical and non-technical staff. Another type of local body is Port Trust. The port trusts are established in the port areas like Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Kochi, and etc. Mainly for two purposes. Firstly, to manage and protect the ports, and secondly, to provide civic facilities. A port trust is created by an act of parliament, and it consists of both elected and nominated members. Its chairman is an official, and its civic functions are more or less similar to those of the municipality. Special Purpose Agency. In addition to the 7 area-based urban bodies that we have discussed earlier, the states have set up certain agencies to undertake designated activities and specific functions that legitimately belong to the domain of municipal corporations or municipalities. In other words, these are functional based and not area based. That is why they are also known as single purpose, unipurpose, or special purpose or functional local bodies. Some of such bodies are Town Improvement Trust, Urban Development Authorities, Water Supply and Sewage Boards, Housing Boards, Pollution Control Boards, Electricity Supply, and City Transport Boards. They function as an autonomous bodies and deal with the functions allotted to them independently of the local urban governments. Therefore, they are not the subordinate agencies of the local municipal bodies. Municipal personnel are the people who are employed in the working of urban governments. There are three types of municipal personnel system in India. Separate personnel system. Under this system, each local body appoints, administers and controls its own personnel. They are not transferable to other local bodies and it is the most widely prevalent system in the country. Unified personnel system in which the state government appoints, administers and controls the municipal personnel. In other words, state-wide services are created for all the urban bodies in the state. They are transferable between the local bodies in the state. This system is usually prevalent in Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and other states. Integrated personnel system in which the state government and those of the local bodies personnel form part of the same services. They are transferable not only between the local bodies in the state but also between the local bodies and departments of the state government. This system is prevalent in Orissa, Bihar, Karnataka, Punjab, Haryana and other states. Now coming to the most important part that is required for the functioning of the urban local bodies is the sources of income. The municipal revenue is collected from 5 sources: tax revenue, non-tax revenues, grants, devolution and loans. Let's discuss the following in some details. Tax revenue. The revenue from the local taxes include property tax, entertainment tax like tax on cinemas, cinema hall and taxes on advertisement, professional tax, water tax, market tax, toll on bridges and so on. While the property tax is the most important tax of the tax revenue. Non-tax revenue. This source include rent on municipal properties, fees and fines, interest, user charges and miscellaneous receipts. The user charges, that is payment for public utilities like water, sanitation, sewage and so on. The another source is grants. This includes the various grants given to the municipal bodies by the central and the state government for the several development programs, infrastructure schemes, urban reform initiatives by the government. Another source of income is devolution, or we can say delegation. This consists of the transfer of funds to the urban local bodies from the state government, which is made on the basis of the recommendation of the State Finance Commission. Loans. The urban local bodies raise loans from the state government as well as the financial institutions to meet their capital expenditure. They can borrow the loans from the financial institutions or other bodies only with the approval of the state government.